So what we're going to do is square numbers. So remember we said 1 squared is 1 times 1, which equals 1. So if I come here, 1 squared, that means you take the number 1 and you write it out 2 times, and then you multiply it. So if I said to you 2 squared, it's 2 times 2, which is 4. So if I said to you 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. 4 squared, 4 times 4 is, let me change that, 4 times 4 is 16, and last but not least is 5 times 5 equals 25. Now, get rid of that. Now, the opposite of a square, the inverse of a square, if I go that way, is a square root. This is called a square root. Okay, so if I did the square root of 1, the answer's 1. The square root of 4 is 2. So can you see that pattern? So if I take that, if I did the square root of 9, the answer's 3. Let me just finish this off. Square root of 16 is 4. And finally, square root of 25 is 5. So you need to learn all your square numbers up to 15. So let me write them here. Yeah. So it'll be 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100. Then, okay, let's do 1, 2, 1, 1, 4, 4. You know it up to there because most schools teach up to there. 13 squared is 169. 14 squared, 1, and then swap the 6 and the 9 round, becomes 96. And finally, we can do 15 squared is 225. So let's have a look, see if we can move it up a bit. There you go. These are all the square numbers. Right, these are the square numbers. Now, if I want to do the opposite of a square, right, I'm going to do this color. I'm going to do the square root. That symbol is called a square root. So the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. Why? Let me tell you why. Because if I do 4 squared, so if I do 4 squared, I get 16. But if I do should write it here. Okay, let me write it here. If I do, oh my god, if I do the square root, I'll write it here. Square root of 16, the answer is 4. There. So square and square root are inverses or opposites in the same way. Plus is the inverse of a minus, times is the inverse of a divide. So just remember that. I want you to remember these square numbers. That's your job.